If you want to learn something about God, shut your mouth and listen to me for a minute.
Many children healed. We've seen midgets grow. We've seen arms and legs that stop growing because the growth cells have stopped. Manda da basata. I don't make this stuff up.
Behold, the atheist's nightmare.
That's the power of the Holy Ghost!
Why do they teach every other theory in science except creation?
Warlocks are enemies of God.
No one's ever going to convince me that the Word of God is not true.
You know, if you put Jesus Christ first, that he'll look after all your bills.
And so the devil said, okay, it's a deal.
And if you want to tell me how to live my life, it better line up with the Word of God or shut your mouth.
I'm loaded. I'm pregnant with miracles.
What do you believe?
Send us the cash.
Welcome to the Bible Dumb Podcast. It's a podcast where two atheists read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I'm Davey Hell.
I'm Jezzy Hell.
Back for another episode of Kings. Have you thought about our reading last week?
I have not.
You haven't.
And I think it was
you haven't let it inform your daily decisions.
I think it was like 2 weeks ago anyway,
life.
so I don't remember any of it.
I don't think it was 2 weeks. I think it was last weekend.
Was it last week? Okay.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. Remember what happened?
Not at all.
Who was it about?
Don't remember.
Come on, you gotta try. King.
What did King Solomon? Oh, yeah. Yeah, King Solomon came in.
Coming back to her.
And he started out being real mean. And then didn't he realize like, that was a little too mean? I don't remember what he did.
I don't know what book you read.
No,
Here's what I remember.
No, he did something real crazy at first.
So David, like, quote unquote, pardoned like all of the people that he was fighting. And then Solomon ended up killing them all anyway.
Yeah.
Told him
that was real mean.
Okay, that was mean Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what about wise Solomon? What do you remember about wise Solomon?
I don't remember what he did that made him like double think.
Okay,
he did something where he like he was like, maybe that was a mistake.
So he basically solved an awesome riddle where like two women had a baby, one of the babies died.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, yeah, and then
no,
they both were claiming that the baby was theirs, and so Solomon said, "Cut it in half."
The baby didn't die, yeah.
And he gave it to the one that was actually concerned about the baby's.
Yeah, the one that was
life.
like, no, she can take it.
Which I was telling our friend Steve, who's appeared on the podcast, I think like episode 3, Let's Get Circumcised, something like that. He came with all of our circumcision facts. Go back, it's a great episode. I was telling him about this story and about how the one wife was like, okay, that's fair. Cut the baby in half. He was like, yeah, because that's how someone would react. Not my baby. Just go ahead and cut it in half. I'll be happy with half a baby. Dibs on top half.
Definitely take top half.
Yeah, silly story, but, and totally realistic, but I think it's awesome because I like riddles, and I hope that the next reading has more riddles that show King Solomon's wisdom. I think that'd be cool.
I do have a question that I've been thinking about.
What's that?
I don't have an answer for it, but so you know how we've been reading like Julia and James,
okay,
and how they're like retelling.
Yeah, so Julia being
retelling
a feminist
of
retelling of 1984, and James being like a critical race retelling of Huckleberry Finn from the perspective of Jim.
Yeah, so it's told by the perspective of, the side characters that are treated like crap throughout the books.
Yeah.
Whose perspective you want to read from the Bible? If you had a retelling.
Oh, that's a great question. Abel would be a good one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was the one that sold his whole inheritance for a bowl of porridge, right?
No.
Oh, no. He was the one that
he was just Adam's son that got killed. Yeah. God didn't like his gift, so I think he brought, like, he was a farmer and Cain was like a hunter or whatever, and they both brought gifts, and God didn't like Abel's, so Cain killed. So whatever, he got upset.
Yeah, I don't remember. But who?
Oh no, he didn't like Cain's, and so Cain got upset and killed Abel.
Yeah. But who's the one? There was the one brother, like way back, long time ago. I think it was Abraham's brother, maybe, that he scammed out of his inheritance. It was like the firstborn, but he was the farmer guy. He worked in the fields.
I think that was Jacob.
Was that Jacob that did that?
Maybe. I think that was Israel himself, maybe. Let's see.
That guy's story would be cool.
I don't know how I don't remember this.
We don't need to look back. It's fine.
I think it was Hairy Man, Smooth Man.
Yeah.
I think it was Jacob and Esau.
Yeah, Esau. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I want Esau's story.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Could you imagine him just being like, what the hell is my brother doing?
Freaky no-hair brother. He looks like the dude from Dune, the bad guy from Dune. He's got no eyebrows. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Fucking Voldemort over here scamming me with porridge. Yeah. Okay, I'd read that book.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's find out what's up with King Solomon. Chapter 4. So King Solomon was king over all Israel, and these were the princes which he had: Azariah, the son of Zadok the priest, Elihoreph, and Ahiah, the sons of Shisha, scribes, Jehoshaphat. Ooh, that's good. Jehoshaphat. I've heard that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, I don't know, a curse or a sneeze. Jehoshaphat. The son of Ahilud, the recorder. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the host. And Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Zariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers. And Zebud, the son of Nathan, was principal officer, and the king's friend. And Ahishar was over the household. And Adoniram, the son of Abda, was over the tribute. And Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made provisions. And these are their names. Great. I love it when we get a bunch of hard to pronounce names. All right, only 12 of them. And these are their names: the son of Hur in Mount Ephraim, the son of Dekar in Makaz and in Shaalbim and Bethshemesh, and Elon Beth Ha'anan, the son of Hesed in Aruboth. To him pertained Sochach, and all the land of Hepher, the son of Abinadab, and all the region of Dor, which had Taphath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. Ba'anah, the son of Ahilud, to him pertained Ta'anak, and Megiddo. Yeah, I remember Megiddo. I remember all the ones that sound like Pokemon.
Yeah.
And all Beth Shean, which is Zartanah, beneath Jezreel, from Beth Shean to Abimelaholah, even unto the place that is beyond Jokneam, the son of Geber, in Ramoth Gilead. To him pertained the towns of Jair, the son of, big page turn, Manasseh, which are in Gilead. To him also pertained the region of Argob, which is in Bashan, 80 great cities with walls and brazen bars. All right. Ahinadab, the son of Edo, had Mahanaim. Ahimaaz was Naphtali. He also took Basmath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. Is that the same daughter or a different daughter? You never know in the Bible.
I think it might be the same.
Is it worth looking back?
No. It said he also did.
Basmath, the daughter. Let's see. I'm looking. No, Taphath was the other daughter.
Okay.
The great thing is I have a program that'll go through and delete all silence out of the podcast. So we can take time to go and look back, and it'll just cut it out automatically.
That's nice. But is it the same guy? Does he have both wives?
No, I think this is a different guy.
Okay.
This is Ahimaaz. He just also married one of Solomon's daughters.
Okay.
Baana, the son of Hushai, was in Asher and in Aloth. Jehoshaphat, oh yeah, that's who I wanted to find out about, the son of Paruah, in Issachar. Of course Jehoshaphat's in Issachar.
Yeah.
Shimei, the son of Elah, in Benjamin. Jeber, the son of Uri, was in the country of Gilead, in the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and of Og, king of Bashan, and he was the only officer which was in the land. Okay. Judah and Israel were many, as the sand which is by the sea in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. All right. So we got it's the roaring 20s. It's the roaring negative 1920s. And Solomon reigned over all kingdoms from the river unto the land of the Philistines and unto the border of Egypt. They brought presents and served Solomon all the days of his life. And Solomon's provision for one day was 30 measures of fine flour and 60 measures of meal. I'm really glad we know this.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a god and I was writing my holy scriptures, I'd make sure to put how much oatmeal I like to eat in the morning. Or my kings like to eat. 10 fat oxen, and 20 oxen out of the pastures, and 100 sheep, beside harts and roebucks, and fallow deer, and fatted fowl. For he had dominion over all the region on this side of the river, from Tiphsah even to Azah, over all the kings on this side of the river. And he had peace on all sides round about him. It's weird that they're calling other people kings other than him. Like, are they starting to section off and be like, oh, well, I'm the king of Issachar.
Maybe.
But King Solomon's the king of all the... He's the king of kings.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they have to do that at some point, you know?
Yeah.
It's getting to be a big world, you know?
I guess so. They number as many as the grains of sand by the ocean, apparently. And Judah and Israel dwelt safely, every man under his vine and under his fig tree, from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. And Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots, and 12,000 horsemen. And those officers provided victual for King Solomon, and for all that came unto King Solomon's table, every man in his month. They lacked nothing. Barley also, and straw for the horses, and dromedaries, brought they unto the place where the officers were, every man according to his charge. And God gave Solomon wisdom, and understanding exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. Get another analogy, bro.
Oh my gosh.
And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country, and all the wisdom of Egypt, for he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ezrahite, and Heman the Chalcol, and Darda the sons of Mahal, and his fame was in all nations round about. He's wiser than Heman. And he spake 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And he spake of trees, from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop, that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of beasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth which had heard of his wisdom. All right, so he's a true Renaissance man. He knows about... He's wise, and he knows about trees. All kinds of trees.
Oh, this is painful.
It's pretty great. It'll probably get better. Maybe. Chapter 5. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father. For Hiram was ever a lover of David. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how that David my father could not build a house unto the name of the Lord his God, for the wars which were about him on every side, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. But now the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary nor evil occurrent. Well, no wonder he has so much time to learn about trees and shit. He's living in a peaceful time.
Yeah.
David didn't have no time to look at trees. And behold, I purpose to build a house unto the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord spake unto David my father, saying,
Thy son, whom I will set upon thy throne in thy room, he shall build a house unto my name.
Now therefore command thou that they hew me cedar trees out of Lebanon, and my servants shall be with thy servants, and unto thee will I give hire for thy servants according to all that thou shalt appoint. For thou knowest that there is not among us any that can skill to hew timber like unto the Sidonians. And it came to pass, when Hiram heard the words of Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly, and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, which hath given unto David a wise son over this great people. And Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered the things which thou sentest to me for, and I will do all thy desire concerning timber of cedar, and concerning timber of fir. My servants shall bring them down from Lebanon unto the sea, and I will convey them by the sea in floats unto the place that thou shalt appoint me, and will cause them to be discharged there. And thou shalt receive them, and thou shalt accomplish my desire in giving food for my household. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees according to all his desire. We really are getting a tree episode here.
Yeah, we are.
Episode 84. The tree episode.
Why is this guy so excited?
I don't know. He's happy to go get those trees. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food for his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Thus gave Solomon to Hiram year by year. All right, so brings the trees, he gets his wheat and oil.
He owned a lumber yard. That's why he's so excited.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I've been wanting to get in the lumber business. This is my chance.
And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom, as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon, and they two made a league together. And King Solomon raised a levy out of all Israel, and the levy was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon 10,000 a month by courses. A month they were in Lebanon, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the levy. And Solomon had 70,000 that bare burdens, and 80,000 hewers in the mountains. Beside the chief of Solomon's officers, which were over the work, 3,300 which ruled over the people that wrought in the work. And the king commanded, and they brought great stones, costly stones, and hewed stones, and lay the foundation of the house. And Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders did hew them, and the stone quarriers. So they prepared timber and stones to build the house. You know, I was really hoping kings would be more like judges. That was like episodic.
Yeah, we're getting more tabernacle vibes here.
We're definitely. I think he's building a tabernacle. I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Building a new temple.
Yeah, but he's got to build a new one, a fancy one, you know?
I don't know if I can take another tabernacle. If we start getting into the curtains again and how many cubits it is, like, I don't know if I can take it. Like, we pulled off a Herculean feat getting through the first tabernacle.
Is this how so many, like, evangelical churches in Texas get away with just having massive buildings that are so crazy?
That's just greed.
Well, yeah, but, like, they justify it by all this bullshit that's in here.
Probably. I don't know.
You know?
Yeah, most likely. They're like, well, Moses had a big tabernacle. Have fun.
Tabernacle-talk.
Tabernacle.
This episode going to be called more tabernacle-talk.
Maybe. I was going to call it the tree episode, but I'm afraid. I'm really afraid. But I thought each episode of Kings might be like Solomon doing a new riddle.
Have you ever heard of the word tabernacle before you started reading the Bible?
Yeah, but I didn't know what it was. Like it was always like just random church talk. It'd be like, welcome to the tabernacle of Jesus Christ. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I never heard of it before.
Man, are we ever going to get to Jesus?
I'm real ready to get to Jesus.
All right, let's press on.
Let's keep going.
Chapter 6. Sinus. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziph. Oh, nice. I didn't know we had Ziph was a month. That's a great month.
Yeah.
Which is the 2nd month. Okay, Ziph is February.
February. Hey, we're in February.
We're in Ziph. Hooray! That he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits, and the height thereof, what do you think?
I don't know.
How many?
I don't know.
30.
Oh.
30 cubits high.
Wasn't his oatmeal like 3 something too? Is he obsessed with the number 3?
I don't think so. This was 30, not 3.
Yeah, but he's like, everything's 3 something. 3, 30, 13, whatever.
I don't think so.
I think he's obsessed.
The breadth was 20.
We're not talking about that.
Okay. This is what happens when you're like grasping at straws. Look, I think I heard the number 3 earlier. And the porch before the temple of the house, 20 cubits was the length thereof. All right, we're getting porch dimensions.
Nice.
According
the
to
porch is my favorite part of a house, so.
I do like a good porch. According to the breadth of the house, and 10 cubits was the breadth thereof before the house. And for the house he made windows of narrow lights.
Oh, jeez. Here it comes.
Oh, we're in it. We are fully in the tabernacle of Solomon. That's a good title. And against the wall of the house he built chambers round about. Against the walls of the house round about, both... I forgot about all the roundabouts.
Yeah.
We're getting like a total new tabernacle.
I feel like they brought an old writer back. They're like, hey, we need the tabernacle guy. Bring him back.
I think this is just like a king being like mimicking Moses, because he's like, I'm the new Moses. Everybody love me. All right, round about both the temple and the oracle, and he made chambers round about. The nethermost chamber was 5 cubits broad, and the middle was 6 cubits broad, and the third was 7 cubits broad. For without in the wall of the house he made narrowed rests round about, that the beams should not be fastened in the walls of the house. Okay? And the house, when it was in building, was built of stone, made ready before it was brought thither, so that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was in building. Why
what?
I guess because it was made of stone, like you couldn't hear them building it from the outside?
Read that again.
And the house, when it was in building, was built of stone, made ready before it was brought hither, so that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was in the building. Okay, so they're building the pieces of the temple elsewhere and then bringing it to the location and shimming it together like a like a jigsaw, like a Jenga tower.
It's like an Ikea shelf.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
There you go. It's Ikea.
Okay.
It's the Ikea tabernacle.
Why do
There's the title. Ikea tabernacle.
Why do we care? Why does that matter?
I don't know. It's godly. It's holy. It's the holy book. Don't question the holy book. The door for the middle chamber was in the right side of the house, and they went up with winding stairs.
Come. Jesus save me.
Into You're like praying for the apocalypse to happen. Sorry, babe, but I hate to break it to you, but you're not going. You're stuck here with me. And they went up the winding stairs into the middle chamber, and out of the middle into the third. And he built the house, and finished it, and covered the house with beams and boards of cedar. Is it done? Then he built chambers against all the house, 5 cubits high, and they rested on the house with timber of cedar. And the word of the Lord came to Solomon, saying,
Concerning this house which thou art in building, if thou wilt walk in my statutes, and execute my judgments, and keep all my commandments, to walk in them, then will I perform my word with thee, which I spake unto David thy father. And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will not forsake my people Israel.
What?
What an asshole.
So Solomon built the house and finished it. And he built the walls of the house within with boards of cedar, both the floor of the house and the walls of the ceiling, and he covered them on the inside with wood, and covered the floor in the house with planks of fir. It keeps on saying, like, he finished it, and then starts going into more building shit.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think?
Tricking us.
I think God's a bad dad.
You got a bad dad?
He's a bad dad.
Yeah, he's not so great. And he built 20 cubits on the sides of the house, both the floor and the walls with boards of cedar. He even built them for it within, even for the oracle, even for the most holy place. And the house, that is, the temple before it, was 40 cubits long. And the cedar of the house within was carved with knops and open flowers. All was cedar, there was no stone seen. And the oracle he prepared in the house within, and set there the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And the oracle in the forepart was 20 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in breadth, and 20 cubits in the height thereof, and he overlaid it with much gold, pure gold, and so covered the altar, which was of cedar. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. All right. So
Okay.
this has got to be like why, like King Solomon is like associated with like treasure or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you find King Solomon's mines and it's like all filled with treasure.
Yeah. You know, and maybe I just like I don't care about my own house this much. You know?
Yeah.
I could never. I could never care. Never in a million years.
Yeah, but if all you have to do is be like, make my house gold, slaves.
Yeah.
And it's gold all of a sudden, and you know, maybe you just on a whim. This all seems like stuff done on a whim.
Like I could not care about this. I don't care about this. I don't care what other people do. Like why would anybody want to read about this?
Oh, they don't. Meanwhile, I'm reading about this.
I know. We're doing it for punishment, though.
Punishment. It's like wearing how they used to like wear hair shirts and like whip themselves. And the whole house he overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with. What do you think?
Great.
Gold. And within the oracle he made 2 cherubim of olive tree, each 10 cubits high. And 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub. From the uttermost part of the one wing unto the uttermost part of the other were 10 cubits. 'Cause 5 plus 5 equals 10. He's a little humble brag there, showing he knows arithmetic. And the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both the cherubim were of one measure and one size. The height of the one cherub was 10 cubits, and so was it of the other cherub. And he set the cherubim within the inner house, and they stretched forth the wings of the cherubim, so that the wing of the one touched the one wall, and the wing of the other cherubim touched the other wall, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. And he overlaid the cherubim with gold. And he carved all the walls of the house round about with carved figures of cherubim and palm trees and open flowers within and without. And the floor of the house he overlaid with gold within and without. And for the entering of the oracle he made doors of olive tree. The lintel and side posts were 1/5 part of the wall. And 2 doors were of olive tree, and he carved upon them carvings of cherubim, and palm trees, and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold, and spread gold upon the cherubim and upon the palm trees. So also made he for the door of the temple posts of olive tree, a fourth part of the wall, and the 2 doors were of fir tree. The 2 leaves of the one door were folding, and the 2 leaves of the other door were folding. And he carved thereon cherubim and palm trees and open flowers, and covered them with gold, fitted upon the carved work. And he built the inner court of 3 rows of hewed stone, and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year was the foundation of the house of the Lord laid, in the month Ziph. Hey! And in the 11th year, in the month Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it. So was he 7 years in building it. Whoa.
That's a long time.
Long time. Oh my God. All right. We're about 30 minutes in. And doing a quick scan. Looks like we're going to be here for a while. Building the fucking temple. All right. This is a long-ass chapter.
We can do it. We can do it.
Okay, and it looks like after this chapter, we're back to, like, story time, maybe.
All right. Everybody put on fast forward.
Put on fast forward. Chapter 7. But Solomon was building his own house 13 years, and he finished all his house. He built also the house of the forest of Lebanon. The length thereof was 100 cubits, and the breadth thereof 50 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits, upon 4 rows of cedar pillars, with cedar beams upon the pillars. And it was covered with cedar above upon the beams that lay on 45 pillars, 15 in a row. Try to make it exciting. No way. And there were windows in 3 rows, and light was against light in 3 ranks. And all the doors and posts were square.
Square?
With the windows. And the light was against light in 3 ranks. And he made a porch of pillars. The length thereof was 50 cubits, and the breadth thereof 30 cubits, and the porch was before them, and the other pillars and the thick beam were before them. And he made a porch for the throne, where he might judge, even the porch of judgment, and it was covered with cedar for one side, and the floor to the other. And his house where he dwelt had another court within the porch, which was of the like work. Solomon made also a house for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had taken to wife, like unto his porch. All these were of costly stones, according to the measures of hewed stones, sawed with saws, within and without, even from the foundation unto the oak coping, and so on the outside toward the great court. And the foundation was of costly stones, even great stones, stones of 10 cubits, and stones of 8 cubits. And above were costly stones, after the measures of hewed stones and cedars. And the great court round about was with 3 rows of hewed stones, and a row of cedar beams, both for the inner court of the house of the Lord, and for the porch of the house. All right. We made it through 1 column.
Maybe some people like this because, some people like crap like this.
Like what?
Like fancy stuff.
Well,
like I can't. Like I have no, like, keeping up with the Joneses type of
true
fiber in my body.
Same.
I don't care about any of that. And so I find this so hard to deal with. But there are a lot of people that do.
I mean, I guess. I mean, are you picturing this in your mind? Like, are you trying to, like, build an image of these grand houses with all the cherubim and flowers and gold everywhere?
I mean, I am kind of visualizing it. Are you not?
No.
It's like without even trying, though.
This is me just, like, making sounds. Like, I'd rather be, my mind is like a million miles away. It's more like just a practice of meditation at this point. No, I'm not building his stupid fucking house and his porches, his 7 porches he built.
I'm just visualizing what you're saying.
I don't think
impossible not
anybody
to.
enjoys this. This is
I
pure
don't know.
torture.
There's some people that I think like, like the people who have to go out and buy the newest, hottest thing, all those people.
I guess.
It's a mentality I cannot understand.
I mean, you've had a passing interest in interior decoration recently. You've been painting the walls, and we've been putting out pictures and stuff.
That is different than...
That's what he's doing. He's just painting everything in gold and putting up little cherubim pictures. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass. And he was filled with wisdom and understanding and cunning to work all works in brass. And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his work. For he cast 2 pillars of brass, of 18 cubits high apiece, and a line of 12 cubits did compass either of them about. And he made 2 chapiters of molten brass, and set upon the tops of the pillars. The height of the one chapiter was 5 cubits, and the height of the other chapiter was 5 cubits.
Why are you saying chapiter?
That's what it's... Well, how else am I going to say it?
I don't know.
It's not like a book chapiter. That's how it's spelled, chapiter. I've never heard that word before.
Me neither.
And nets of checker work, and wreaths of chain work for the chapiters were upon the top of the pillars, 7 for the one chapiter, and 7 for the other chapiter. And he made of the pillars and 2 rows round about upon the one network to cover the chapiters that were upon the top with pomegranates. And so did he for the other chapiter. I like pomegranates. Yeah, me too. And the chapiters that were upon the top of the pillars were of lily work, in the porch 4 cubits. And the chapiters upon the 2 pillars had pomegranates, also above, over against the belly, which was by the network. See, he's a million miles away too. He's just saying random words. Well, it had pomegranates against the belly of the network. And the pomegranates were 200 in rows round about upon the other chapiter. They were impressed by pomegranates too, because there's just 2 random words in here italicized. The only 2 words italicized, and it's had pomegranates.
That's weird.
Yeah. And
Okay.
And he set up the pillars in the porch of the temple, and he set up the right pillar and called the name thereof Jachin. And he set up the left pillar and called the name thereof Boaz. I think Boaz was in here before.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that word before.
Boaz was the guy that, I might be wrong, but I think he was like the farmer that married Dinah.
I do not remember. I do know we've heard the name before.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting that wrong, but oh well. Well, now it's the name of a pillar.
Okay.
And upon the top of the pillars was lily work, and was the work of the pillars finished. And he made a molten sea 10 cubits from the one brim to the other. It was round all about, and his height was 5 cubits, and the line of 30 cubits did compass it round about. And under the brim of it round about there were knops compassing it, 10 in cubit, compassing the sea round about. And the knops were cast in 2 rows. When it was cast, tell me what?
Roundabout. Davis, put that roundabout.
It stood upon 12 oxen, 3 looking toward the north, and 3 looking toward the west, and 3 looking toward the south, and 3 looking toward the east. And the sea was set above upon them, and all their hinder parts were inward. And it was a handbreadth thick, and the brim thereof was wrought like the brim of a cup, with flowers of lilies. It contained 2,000 baths. And he made 10 bases of brass. 4 cubits was the length of one base, and 4 cubits the breadth thereof, and 3 cubits the height of it. And the work of the bases was on this manner. They had borders, and the borders were between the ledges. And on the borders that were between the ledges were lions, oxen, and cherubim. And upon the ledges there was a base above, and beneath the lions and oxen were certain additions made of thin work.
Nice.
There were certain additions. All right, so let's do a little book club time. You mentioned that we've been reading Julia and James, both fantastic. I would totally recommend. Unfortunately, I was listening to James and I ran out of audiobook time on Spotify, so I'm like halfway through
You
it.
cannot complain about that.
I'm complaining.
You can't, considering that you took the audiobook privilege.
I didn't
in our
take it. I
family
was
plan.
granted it. I was gifted it by Spotify God.
Not fair.
I was his chosen. And yeah, I was granted audiobook time. So I'm really looking forward to reading that again. It was good.
Yeah.
I don't understand. This is something I had a thought about when we were reading, or when I was listening to James. In preparation, I read Huckleberry Finn. And I remember thinking of all the free speech debate around it because it uses the N-word. Like in the past, thinking like, well, we should still have access to old books, even though it uses despicable language. Like we should, still be able to learn from this book. It should still be taught in schools. And then I read it again as an adult, and I'm like, why is this being taught in schools? Like, there's
It's a stupid book.
Yeah, it is a stupid book. Like, I mean, it has some humor in it, but almost all of the humor is just making fun of Jim. Like, it's just horrible. Like, and I used to think that it was like a progressive human rights message. It's not.
That's probably what you were told in school.
I probably was assigned it and didn't read it.
Yeah.
And that's why I had a rose-colored view of this story. Well, I mean, I know I read it, but I probably was like reading it as fast as I could in the way that I'm now reading about Solomon's temple.
You probably read it in like homeroom class before
Yeah.
it was due. There's so many other good books out there. Like and I feel like at least Huckleberry Finn, and maybe it's just because we read Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
I read both, and I wasn't really impressed by either. I mean,
I felt like we read Huckleberry Finn like twice in school, like between like junior high and high school.
Dang.
And maybe it was just that we read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, and I was
probably
making them into one book that I had to read multiple times, and it was pure punishment.
Well, Tom Sawyer was just like a goofy. It's about a little troublemaker running around, It's just kind of funny. And like, oh, I remember being a young person and getting into all this like mischief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is that song? Getting into trouble. Billy Boy from Righteous Gemstones.
Running through the house naked. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember what the song is, but
my
if you haven't seen The Righteous Gemstones on HBO, I highly suggest watching it. It's hysterical. All right. So that was our little break. I'm trying to put a little break in here between like these pages of Tabernacle.
Okay, that was a good break. Are we
That's a good break.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
And every base had 4 brazen wheels and plates of brass, and the 4 corners thereof had undersetters. Under the laver were undersetters molten, and at the side of every addition. And the mouth of it within the chapiter was above it was a cubit, but the mouth thereof was round after the work of the base, a cubit and a half, and also upon the mouth of it were gravings with their borders 4 square, not round. And under the borders were 4 wheels, and the axle trees of the wheels were joined at the base, and the height of the wheel was a cubit and a half cubit. And the work of the wheels was like the work of chariot wheel. Their axle trees and their naves and their felloes and their spokes were all molten. And there were 4 undersetters to the 4 corners of one base, and the undersetters were of the very base itself, and in the top of the base was there a round compass of half a cubit high, and on the top of the base the ledges thereof and the borders thereof were of the same. For on the plates of the ledges thereof and on the borders thereof he graved cherubim, lions, and palm trees, according to the proportion of every one, and additions round about. Round about. After this manner he made the 10 bases. All of them had 1 casting, 1 measure, and 1 size. Then made he 10 lavers of brass. 1 laver contained 40 baths, and every laver was 4 cubits, and upon every one of the 10 bases 1 laver. What the hell is a laver? Is it a bathroom?
I don't know.
Like a lavatory? I'm just saying that because they contained 40 baths per laver. Don't know. And he put 5 bases on the right side of the house, and 5 on the left side of the house, and he set the sea on the right side of the house eastward, over against the south.
That is so interesting.
This makes no sense. And Hiram made the leaves and the shovels and the basins. So Hiram made an end of doing all the work that he made King Solomon for the house of the Lord. The 2 pillars and the 2 bowls of the chapiters were on top of the 2 pillars, and the 2 networks to cover the 2 bowls of the chapiters, which were upon the top pillars, and 400 pomegranates for the 2 networks, even 2 rows of pomegranates for 1 network, to cover the 2 bowls of the chapiters that were upon the pillars, and the 10 bases and 10 lavers on the bases, and 1 sea, and 12 oxen under the sea, and the pots and the shovels and the basins, and all these vessels which Hiram made to King Solomon for the house of the Lord were of bright brass. And in the plain of Jordan did the king cast them, and in the clay ground between Succoth and Zarthon. And Solomon left all the vessels unweighed, because they were exceeding many. Neither was the weight of the brass found out. And Solomon made all the vessels that pertained unto the house of the Lord, the altar of God, and the table of gold, whereupon the showbread was, and the candlesticks of pure gold, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left, before the oracle with the flowers, and the lamps and the tongs of gold, and the bowls and the snuffers, and the basins and the spoons and the censers of pure gold, and the hinges of gold, both for the doors of the inner house, the most holy place, and for the doors of the house, to wit, of the temple. So was ended all the work that King Solomon made for the house of the Lord. And Solomon brought in the things which David his father had dedicated, even the silver and the gold and the vessels, did he put among the treasures of the house of the Lord. Yes!
Did we make it?
We made it. We're done. Next time we'll be back to like a regular story, it looks like. I'm hoping. We'll see. I'm not promising that.
I was about to say.
But yeah, if you made it to the end of this episode, let us know. Send us an email at BibleDumbPodcast@gmail.com, or just comment on whatever platform in which you listen. And take care of yourself this week. Do some interior decorating. Make your environment nice. You deserve it. All right, stay dumb.
Stay dumb.
Bye.